Oh, hi, good evening. Fair warning, I'm not feeling that well tonight, but we are going to continue with the show. The show must go on. We are going to talk about a book tonight, which is a little bit different. We're not going to talk about ghosties too much. Not too much. We are going to discuss the mafia. And we're going to discuss this book in particular because tonight we have the authors of this book right here. You see right there, written by Pam Harris and Steve Workman. They are here. They are live. We'll be answering questions about the book. And let's go ahead and get on with the show. Let's do our commercialization first. There we are. We got to do something here. I am kind of committed with a Paracon and with a group, New Orleans Paranormal Society down in New Orleans. If you want tours, they do tours in New Orleans. They do not show you a building. They do not let you go in the building. They do not give you stories about the building. They will put a piece of paranormal equipment in your hand and put you in a haunted building and put a spirit in front of you, and you're standing there talking or sitting there talking to a spirit. Now, if you want the paranormal experience, contact them. Here is their contact number down in New Orleans. If you're down there this summer, I don't know why you're in New Orleans in the summer, but maybe you can go this month. Nobody goes to New Orleans in the summer, but the paranormal. And the reason I say that, there's their contact. They are having a Paracon. They wanted to get it away from all the parties and festivals in New Orleans. And that means they have it June, July, August. This year it's going to be July 31st. Next year it's going to be the middle of June. Get it away from Gettysburg Bash. So if we'll go ahead and roll the New Orleans Paracon video. It does the gift and the packages. This is the most expensive package. 2 people, $1,500. Package. $1,000 for 2 people. Hey, you get to go to a VIP party and put some beads off a balcony. The living bit package to the cemetery. $500 per person per weekend. Isn't that great? Calling Father Sebastian. The RP package with Father Sebastian photo. Yes, the Godfather's going to be there. He will be leading you up front. Very own piano will be there. He will also be leading you ghost hunt to the old slave quarters. Jennifer Lucas is a great guy. He will also be leading you ghost hunt. Brandon Cooper will be leading you ghost hunt into the cemetery. Very package. Same goes for your horror fans. And that's the guest going down to New Orleans, July 31st, August 1st and 2nd. If you want a package, go ahead and get it. I think the Litrianis package may be sold out. You can contact them to see if they are. Some of the other packages, the Weekend Patty Negre is probably working fast on being sold out. That is very popular, as is she. Like I said, the Father and Sebastian is sold out completely. So contact them today and get your package the way you want. You will be staying in a nice hotel right there at the corner of Canal in Bourbon. There were no activities outside during the day. You do not want to go to New Orleans and get out there. Okay. You do not want to get out there in the daytime because you are looking at close to 100 degrees temperature and close to 100% humidity. As you'll be in the French Quarter, which the highest point is maybe a few inches above sea level. The rest of it is below. And right there at the Canal Street is one of the places that's a little bit below. You're right there with the streetcars. You got streetcar tours you can take. There's Walgreens, a great ice cream shop, which is important in July and August, right down within 2 or 3 minutes walking distance from the hotel. They do have a pool. It's upstairs. It's outside. It will be a little warm, but they do have a pool during the evening time. It will be at least a little bit cooler. The event's held at night. Hello, Jeremy. Or where it's a little bit cooler. It's at least tolerable. Wear shorts. Do not wear open shoes. I cannot emphasize this enough. Pam Harris posted a whole bunch of names. Good gracious alive. Anyway, do not wear open shoes, Crocs, flip flops, etc. As one, they're making a lot of noise when you're on a paranormal investigation, and most of the events at night are paranormal investigations. You will be doing ghost hunting. They will show you equipment they have. Some of the stars you can hello Greg. You can talk with them during the day. You can meet with them at their table during the day and talk with them during the day. At night, they will be leading ghost hunts into haunted locations, one of them being the Andrew Jackson Hotel. For the prices they have, you cannot beat sitting there picking your star, the person you want to be around and at least speak to and meet. And instead of just talking with them or at a party or eating dinner with them, you will be ghost hunting with them. And as much as possible anyway, there will be some places where we don't have internet. Oh, I forgot. Pam and Greg know each other. Yes, Greg and I are friends from way back, from ghost hunting days in Chicago. But you will be ghost hunting with these people at night. So there's no better chance to be around the people you want to be around. If you and your friends can go on an actual ghost hunt where they'll be showing the latest equipment from paranormal investigators, Chris Talley and Jennifer Talley. They will be running it. They run the ghost hunt tours. They will be taking you to the places where they ghost hunt all the time. They've got years of ghost hunting experience. So it's a good time for all. If you want a paranormal ghost hunt, a paranormal event, a paranormal encounter. Well, enough of the advertising. The reason I advertise this so much is because Chris blames it all on me because I talked him into doing it. I said, I'm making you an offer you can't refuse, dude. So I'm responsible for all this, I guess. Anyway, let's go ahead and open the door on this show, please. Okay, everybody sit down. That's enough applause. Hello, Barbara. We got quite a few people in the chat. And what I'm going to do to start with, what we're covering tonight is a new edition of this book. The new edition answers questions you might have had left after reading the first edition. Over 80 pages have been added. New chapters include details of the over 3-year FBI investigation of Murder, Inc. These details are taken from the 304-page FBI file on Charlie the Bug Workman obtained under the Freedom of Information Act. Well, we're getting all kinds of official stuff tonight. Also includes additional confirmation on Charlie the Bug's life before the mafia from an author in his hometown and separate confirmation of details from the other side. That sounds paranormally to me. Join us as we delve into the family's narrative filled with secrets, connection, and threads, and weave us together. Embark on this journey with us as we explore the challenges of piecing together our lineage into the world where people disappeared and became someone new. This new edition includes additional family stories and other confirmation of Bug's life before the mafia. And that came right from the back cover of this book right here, The Bug's Life Before the Mafia, not volume 2, it's the second edition. And right now we are going to bring out the authors of this book that you see right here, Pam Harris and Steve Workman. Let's bring them on out.
Hey, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hello.
I'm doing all right. Steve, how are you doing out in California?
Oh, he's got frozen.
It must be cold in California.
It's not.
He's freezing.
Hi, Kimmy. Thank you for coming in.
To start off with, Pam, first impressions. You've got a lot of information in here. you didn't write it where you used 5 million words like a lot of videos you see on YouTube, where everybody just uses 1 million words to tell you something they could have told you in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You didn't try to storyize it. You just said, this is what happened. This is what somebody said. This is what they did. And
This is
then
what we know. This is what we know to be true to us.
Right. And you brought the receipts where you showed copies of the information that you got from the FBI.
Yeah, confirmation.
Mm-hmm. You brought the receipts, is what I believe the expression is.
Okay.
So I kind of enjoyed reading that. Some of the FBI documents here were, for my near 70-year-old eyes, it was a bit small print. And had to get a magnifying glass. You know, what is this?
Yeah.
And of course, to read it.
Well, it's a challenge when you're putting a 6x9 book page and you're trying to put in 8.5 by 11 page from the FBI. So
my compliments to y'all for doing that.
Thanks.
Because it's nice to read a book where they make a statement, they say this is what we found, and they show the receipts. So I appreciate y'all doing that. I was kind of struck by that.
Yeah.
And the very ending of the book, as I said earlier, you went into a lot of family stories, and this was interesting to talk about your family. It was kind of hard to research, so you got hung up on a couple of times.
Well, the interesting thing about the family stories is, you know, it involves our direct relatives, our cousins' stories, things like that. But it also goes back to Charlie's first wife. After they got divorced, she got remarried, and their family members.
Let me do that again.
When we met with them,
I got arthritis. I can still do it.
had very similar stories, and that's what was really surprising.
Yeah, they had their story was a little bit different, but with the same outcome. And at the same time, we also heard, you know, the stories that we heard from relatives that we had never heard before. So that was great because we all got a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. Just for everybody watching that someone may not have read the book, it takes place as Europe is starting to tear itself apart. You don't go into World War II. You don't even mention World War II. All you do is put the dates in there, but the dates line up to just after Hitler took control in Germany, and Europe was starting to tear itself apart. And then you skip over the trials, and then you go to as World War II is cranking up in the Pacific.
Well,
so this is the timeline we're talking about.
The whole story starts in 1898 when Charlie was born.
Charlie was born. I'm talking about the main action where the main story part is taking place just as World War II is cranking up and before we were involved. And you've got some name dropping with people, Mr. Benjamin Siegel, and I do not want to be haunted by his ghost in the middle of the night. I will not call him his nickname. I call him Mr. Benjamin Siegel or Mr. Ben Siegel. I wouldn't call him the name that he did not like.
Yeah.
So all of those names in that table with all the mafia figures, that's all from the FBI files.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thank you, Sean.
I've told you some of the things I was impressed with the book. But his life, before coming in, have you got any other details?
What other detail do you want?
between the time he was born, he came up. I will have to explain to people that this was again before World War II, and it was before Social Security numbers. People could change their name and live double identities, and you did not have a nationwide ID system.
Well, you didn't have to prove who you were if you went somewhere. Someone took someone else's word for it, like they did at the grocery store. Hi, Jenny. Um, and so that's how it went. It was like if you went to the bank and your dad said, loan my son this money, they would write a note and they would sign it. And then the son would have to come back to the bank at a certain time to pay it. That is really all that they had back then. And so it was so easy for things like this to happen. Charlie changed his date of birth to make himself 10 years younger when he left Indiana. So,
did you ever find out the reason why? Because I either missed that in the book or I didn't grasp it.
this is over 100 years old. So Charlie's not here to tell us why. And so
Okay.
we can only make our own assumption. My personal belief is that he was in too deep and couldn't get out when he left our grandmother after he had already have 5 children in Indiana. And the conversation that our dad heard him talk to our grandmother about was he had to leave and he could never come back. And it was not an argument. It was a calm conversation. She knew exactly what he meant. So I believe she knew what he was into. I believe that she knew what he was into when they got married. That's my own personal thought. But like I said, this is over 100 years old and we can only assume. So we don't have any real reasons why. So.
And so the whole story, this whole story for our family starts when our dad, like she just said, is about 6 years old and he watches his dad drive away and he doesn't understand why. All he knows is he's never coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So he spent the rest of his life literally trying to find where he went. He found out who he was, he found out what he did, but he couldn't find where he was at the time.
Yeah.
And so that's where all the family stories come in. And the interesting thing is our siblings didn't necessarily hear all of these stories firsthand. Some of these stories he told later in life after we were all out of the house to our cousins' offspring because they loved listening to him tell his stories. And so that's where we heard some of the stories for the first time.
And so picking up from when our dad was 6 and his dad leaves, the next time that our dad has anything, he was in the service with his brothers. I believe he was overseas or something and found the magazine, Steve.
Right.
He just happened
an
to
American
see
magazine that actually had an article about Lucky Luciano. And in that magazine, it mentioned Charlie the Bug one time. And this was a big magazine. It must have been a 10-page article, but it mentioned Charlie the Bug Workman one time. And so he brought he kept the magazine. He brought it home and showed it to his mom and said, "Is this my dad?" And she took the magazine and threw it in the trash and never spoke about it again. So that kind of tells you, yeah, that was your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that's
messes with
confirmation there.
Yeah.
you. Pretty much.
The wife of a mafia has to keep her mouth shut too. So,
Well, exactly.
yeah.
The children got to keep their mouth shut,
If
and
they know about it, yeah.
yeah, what they
Because
know.
yeah, because as the children get older, as you've seen in some of the families that later came along in the mafia, they learned to do that and they came involved in the mafia. But Charlie's kids in Indiana never did. And I don't believe any of his other family did either.
Hmm.
But they know of him, I'm sure.
They probably don't talk about it too much. They probably
Uh,
don't know enough to talk about, do they?
Charlie never talked. That's why he was so respected, and none of his family talked either. So this is the first time that anyone out there is going to hear anything about Charlie living in Indiana ever in their life. And now Charlie has probably 5 generations from his family in New York. So they've never heard that. Don't believe it because the dates don't match. Well, they
So
don't match. So
there's been lots of books, lots of movies. Um, the story's been told about Motor Incorporated and about the mafia in the 20s and 30s, but no one has ever told this story about Charlie's life before the mafia. And we know they knew about it, but they just didn't talk about it.
very
They
few
knew
knew.
about it because
Mhm.
they they um, they basically kept an eye on his family in Indiana. Just
Mhm.
kept an eye on him. Just wanted to report back to him what was going on. But the interesting thing is Charlie's son. Once he moved to New York, he got married, had a son, and that son went on to be a PGA golfer. He wrote a book about Charlie, and um, was it who was it that you called on the phone? That was it his first wife?
Yes, his second wife. But I
Oh,
first
his
first of
son's.
all, I talked to the author of that book that helped
Well, that's it.
Chuck write that book, which was Peter Semino. But 2 years ago, I talked to Chuck's second wife on the phone. So that was amazing.
It's kind of funny when you start delving in the family, the different things people go into. Uh, well,
Thank you,
you heard that
Chris.
little conversation where I have a family member,
Yeah.
with the FBI, and I don't talk about it much. I don't talk about what he got into. It's nobody's business. And I have been involved with people that I still do not talk about. I don't name names. I don't. One of these days, somebody's going to write a book about it, and they may dig my name up somewhere. I don't know, but I still don't talk about it.
Well,
They're still active, and I don't want somebody knocking on my door.
right. Me, Steve, they can come knock on our door. We're not afraid.
We want to know about it. And
Yeah.
so
So
the interesting thing about that conversation that Pam had with Chuck, who was Charlie's son, his second wife, she said,
his third.
"Well, you can tell the story
Yeah.
because you experienced it.
Yeah.
Tell her, tell me about your
Actually,
conversation."
this is Charlie's third wife, actually. Um, when he goes to New York, he gets married, I believe, in 1935. And honestly, he wasn't even divorced from his Indiana wife, our grandmother, yet.
I caught that in the
Yeah,
book, and
I love that.
it's hard. Back then, it's hard to get caught with that. In fact, people can still get away with it today if they change a couple
He
of things.
was in a different birth date. He was 10 years younger, so he wouldn't have got
Mhm.
caught. So even in the 30s, it was still, you would still be able to do that. So anyway, I was doing research one day, and I had my dining room table full of papers, and I don't know how this happened, but it popped up on my computer with names and phone numbers. So I automatically hit print, and I thought, well, I'll just call the youngest person on the list.
And these were all relatives of Charlie's in New York.
Yeah. Who now, they all live in Florida now. So, and they
half
lived in
New
Florida.
York moved to Florida.
Well, Chuck Workman, Charlie's son from New York, was a famous PGA golfer in Florida. So that's why they're all there. So anyway, the names and numbers popped up, and I just thought I'll just call the youngest one on there. And so I called and asked for this person's name, and she said, no, she doesn't live here, and hung up. And I thought, okay, these are probably just really old phone numbers or something. I don't even know how I got them.
But she called you back, didn't she?
She called me back, yes. And she said, did you just call? I almost didn't answer it, honestly. And then I realized that's the number I just called. So I'm glad that I did. And she said, did you just call here asking for so-and-so? And I said, yes. And she said, can I ask you what business you have with her? And I just simply said, we might be related. And she said, oh, really? Who are you? I gave her a short version, told her I was writing a book. She was very intrigued by my story, and I didn't tell her the whole story. And she said, I'm going to dinner with my son tonight, and I will talk to him, because recently they had a producer contact her that wanted to write a movie about Charlie's life. And she just felt like she should leave it up to all the kids. And the kids, of course, said no.
And so her son was from, that she's talking about, was from a previous marriage or another marriage, not related to Charlie, but he was 65 or 70 at the time, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and yeah. So she said, I'll call you back tomorrow. I was so excited for my phone to ring. And so when she called, I thought I better let it ring a couple times. I don't need to be too anxious. So I answered it, and she was very nice. And she said, you know, I'm sorry, but the kids don't think that I should be in contact with anyone because they've heard this before and the dates don't match. And I said, well, there's a reason why the dates don't match. And I can tell you why they don't match. But if they do not want you to talk to me, that's okay. Keep my name and phone number. If anyone ever decides to call me, they'll have it.
Did you have any more contact with her after that?
Mm-mm.
And so that goes to our point about family stories. People only know what they're told,
Right?
and they believe them to be true. And so they believe the dates don't match, so this cannot be true. And, and like Pam said, we know why the dates don't match.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
What I was going to ask you, Linda, since you've read the book, what part did you find the most interesting that you weren't expecting?
I was not expecting the ending with the personal stories. Since you asked me, one of the more intriguing things that if you have any more detail, I'd appreciate it. When you had a family member knock on a door, looking for somebody, looking for bugs,
Right,
and we're told he wasn't there. He turns around, and there's people standing there at the sidewalk in a cab with the door being held open.
and so the story you're talking about involves our uncle. I think in 47, he was the youngest of the family, and I think he had just turned 18, and he went to Chicago to one of these old brownstone buildings, with the steps going up to the door. And what's something we thought about afterwards, how did he know what the address was? Where did he get that?
Because keep in mind, this person was 6 months old when Charlie left, so he never knew him.
Right. So where in the world, now he's 18, where did he get the address to go look for him in Chicago? And what he didn't know.
We may have lost Steve.
He'll be back. This is a great part of the story, though.
Yes.
He'll come back and tell it. He tells it very well. But this is a very important part of the story, because this person that went looking for him never knew him, so.
So my laptop keeps freezing, so I'm back on my phone.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Steve.
The end of that is, and we didn't put this in the book because I don't think we figured it out so clearly until afterwards.
Yeah.
And so Charlie's first wife they were in a small town about 30 miles from where our family grew up. They were in Churubusco. Our family grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And so talking to the descendants of Charlie's first wife, Pam and I have met with them a couple times, and they would tell us, here's a story that my grandmother told me. And one of the stories that is in the book is that Charlie's first wife heard her father told Charlie, you need to go to Chicago to look for work. He did. And then he sent for his wife. She went there, and when she came back, she's like, nope, we're done. I'm out of here. We're getting a divorce. Now, I told you that part of the story because what I didn't realize until much, much later on is our family and Charlie's son, Robert, they kept in touch with his first wife a lot. When we talked to the grandchildren, they said, oh yeah, his first son would come over and bring his kids, and they all, it wasn't a secret. They knew where he had come from. And so putting it all together, if our aunts and uncles knew Charlie's first wife, that's where he got the address from. She went to Chicago and probably still had the address.
Yeah.
So when she went to Chicago in 22 or 23, she still had the address. So that in 47, our uncle, that's where he got the address. Because without that, it made no sense. How did he even know where to go?
It was probably 1920 because grandmother married him in 22.
And so what our uncle didn't know when he went to Chicago looking for him, at the time, Charlie was already in prison. And it's just so weird that somebody would answer the door at that address and know who Charlie was and basically tell this man, he's not here, you need to leave. And the mafia ties were still there. That's why when he turned around, there was a cab, men on both sides, a cab with the door open, waiting for him. You need to leave.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We find things out and put things together even after we've published the book, and now it all kind of comes together and makes more sense.
Yeah.
That was, I just found that little piece fascinating, having kind of experienced similar things.
Yeah.
That there was that much still watching and taking care of the family there.
Yeah, and do you remember anything else later in the book that mentions them, the mafia?
Uh, yeah. One thing, again, the personal stories. I found that very interesting toward the back of the book.
Yeah,
That one of your family members had kept seeing the same person in places.
one of them
Oh
was our
yeah,
dad.
yeah,
One
our
of them was
cousin.
our dad's funeral.
Yeah,
Yes. And at a hospital a couple of times, I believe.
right,
Yeah.
right. And
So
see,
the man that knocked on the door, wasn't that his dad?
that was his dad. So the son of the man that knocked on the door in Chicago is the one that made these observations. And it was just, I mean, we were all
Yeah.
there. We all seen the same thing, but he had such a keen eye for
For us,
things
I
that
mean,
stuck
at that
out.
time in our life, it's just not something we would be looking at our dad's funeral, you know. But somebody who stood back and watched, I mean, he was very attentive.
And he had such a memory
Oh
because
man.
when he told me this story, he had he had the details down. It wasn't hard for him to remember. It was like it just happened.
Yeah.
And so he was able to tell us all the details of what he recalls.
And his
Um,
details never changed. And I mean, every time he told it, it was the very same. And I don't know how somebody can have that good of a memory because I don't.
I still remember things I did when I was 3.
Oh, well,
yeah, but sometimes I forget where I put my glasses.
yeah, then you could do that.
Yeah. I'll forget why I walked into a room. And I had to walk in a circle for 3 or 4 minutes trying to remember why I walked in here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and then
look-
the glasses are on top of my head. So
Yeah.
yeah, and you're looking for your glasses, and there they are. Everybody in the room laughing at you.
so
Uh, I'm looking for a picture, so go ahead.
what did you think about the chapter um, stories from the other side?
I was going to comment on that. Since you bring it up, I'll go ahead and comment on that.
Okay.
Uh, okay, I'm almost there. You're familiar with that? Is that the subject of our book here?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
that's
If
yeah,
anybody
that's a
wants to know what
picture
he looks
of
like,
Charlie the Bug.
there's
Actually,
Charlie
one
the
of
Bug
his.
right there.
Yep.
And I think this next picture is kind of a composite picture, isn't it? Where somebody put his head.
Yeah. Actually, our cousin's son had that hanging in his garage and put a picture of Charlie in the window to make it look like he was driving. So,
So that comes from he was one of the young boys that I was talking about, our cousin's son that went to our mom and dad's house and was just so intrigued by dad's stories. And one of
yes.
the stories he repeated was after his dad has left, he would be down the street in a park and he noticed a, a fancy black car. And it was noticeable because nobody in the neighborhood had a car like that. And there was a person in the car. He couldn't see who it was, had his hat pulled down, right? But what he would notice is after he saw that, he would go home and find an envelope in the mailbox that had money in it. And he did this. He said it had money in it.
Yeah.
And so,
Real money.
yeah. And so this young man being told that story more than once was influenced. He found um, an old door off of a Chevy and he wanted to find a picture of Charlie looking to the left so it would look like he was driving it. So he created this art. And again, we kind of found it. We didn't, when we learned more and more about these stories, and we're like, you know, you're the only one in the family that hung on to this and dove into it aside from us. You didn't even know what we were doing. So um, we wanted to share that and put it on the back cover of the book.
Yeah. So what we did is he didn't know we were going to use it. We surprised him with it.
Right. Here's the back cover
Yeah.
copy of that photo.
Yeah.
I showed the one in the book. There's the same thing on the back.
Yeah.
And you're talking about tipping a hat like I kind of did. That is the cover.
Yeah.
That is a way to hide your face. And people have
Right.
done this for years. I
Yeah.
mean,
I have our hats here, mine and Steve's.
there was a song put out like that.
Hmm.
Carly Simon, You're So Vain.
Well,
Strategically
actually,
over
when
one
Charlie
eye.
was young, he wore the flat hat.
Mhm.
And then when he went to, I believe, Chicago, that's when he started this hat.
Because that hat was popular in Chicago. Having spent
Well,
14 years there.
you know, he was making money.
Yeah.
He had money. When he
Mhm.
was in Cherubusco, he didn't have any.
Right.
So he bought a more expensive hat.
He had hats.
Yeah.
Now, to get back to Steve's question he had for me, what I thought about what I call the paranormally parts.
Yeah.
But to start with, I'd like you to go ahead and talk about your experiences with the couple you were working with here, because they deserve, I think, some kudos, some time on the show, talking about them and how you got to know them.
Well, if you'll notice, even on the cover, they wrote the foreword to the book.
Mm-hmm.
Michael and Marty Perry. And so I came across them here in San Diego maybe 20 years ago. Somebody I knew said, "Do you want to go to this group reading?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" They said, "Well, there's this couple that are paranormal, they're mediums, and it's just entertaining to have that experience as a group. You may or may not have a reading depending on how it goes." So my wife and I, we found it interesting. We went a few more times, got to know them, and then um, and then
And then
I actually
Dad,
had a private reading with them and my mom when she was here visiting.
yeah, after our
So
dad passed away.
so you know, their credibility to us just grew. And so in 2022, um, our older sister was here, and we had a reading with Michael and Marty, kind of like this, over the internet. And we told them we were trying to find things out about Charlie, um, and that Charlie's son had written a book. Um, and so that's part of how that chapter starts. Um, and so what Marty does is she puts on headphones so she can't hear anything that Michael's saying, what the conversation is, but she channels people too, and she'll draw their picture. And so she drew a picture and nobody recognized it. We didn't know who it was.
Is this it here?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about right
yeah.
now.
So we didn't know, we couldn't identify for sure who that was. And so, and then later on, Pam and I went to, I guess it was May of last year.
Here's another doodle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
she-
Pam and I went to Tennessee in May of 2025
for a Paracon.
for a Paracon, and they were there because they had moved to Tennessee. And so we had actual pictures from Charlie's son's book. And individually, they came by and looked at what Marty drew and looked at the pictures in Charlie's son's book of Charlie. And they both almost said identical things like, I'm pretty sure that's him. I'm pretty sure. And so that was our
And
second
this was
encounter
2
directly with
years
that.
later after they drew those, after she drew those
Right.
pictures.
Right. And so then most recently, and I keep looking to see the date here, it was September of last year, Pam and I had a reading, and that's almost, and what was nice about it is the format that we used produced a transcript. And so an edited version of that transcript is in the book. Directly what was said, how it came across. And this time, Marty drew this old man, appeared to be pissed off, and we could have had no idea who he was. And so Michael looked at the picture and asked the people on the other side he was talking to who it was. And basically it came down to that was Charlie's biological father, Casper. And there was no doubt about it. And Pam and I have found and visited his mom and dad's grave, Casper and Martha, when we went to Churubusco. So it, everything is tying all these things together. It's undeniable in our mind. He's the same guy that started in Churubusco, changed his date of birth, changed his religion, told everybody he was Jewish, and then kept his mouth shut and never talked about it.
And
Okay,
then
I'm trying to remember what their website is.
I think it's art.
It's somewhere in here.
Spirit art.
Spirit Art.
SpiritArt.com.
Okay, and they're still active, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So people can go to spiritart.com, and if they want a reading, they can contact them for a reading. Correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Michael and Marty Perry. Yes.
Okay.
Parry.
I just want to give them a heads up.
Yeah.
Let's
I appreciate
see.
that.
Website is spiritart.com.
Okay. And some of that they talked about explaining how the other side works
Yeah.
is exactly the reason I'm in the paranormal is to research. I like to plan stuff. I'm retired now. I'll be turning 70 the 3rd of July. And our retirement is working well as we could because it was planned. If there is indeed another life after this one, I want to figure out how it works, know the rules, and basically what I'll be dealing with. And the research I've done on the other side is exactly what you wrote in your book. It was like I wrote it down myself.
Nice. Interesting.
So I happen to agree with what you had in your book that they said how the other side is. It's tiered, it's different layers, it's different places.
Yeah. And
But
I
some-
can
some of it depends
guarantee
what you believe.
I can guarantee you no one would ever be disappointed with Michael and Marty Perry.
Okay. And if they've got what I believe is the truth, and according to my research is the truth, and they just like it almost word for word the way I would have explained it to somebody, I would have to say, yeah, I would have to support them and they know what they're talking about. They know what they're
Yes.
doing.
Yeah, and they do a lot of paracons now down there. So you can look and see where they're going to be probably this summer, I bet. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and I would say you would probably just be fascinated just to watch them.
Right.
I mean, just to watch them. When we were in Tennessee, Michael was giving a speech. You know, all of the vendors gave a speech, and I recorded the whole thing. And I have watched it more than twice or 3 or 4 times, because I am so intrigued by him. And there's not very many people out there that can do that, especially Marty. You know, for her not to have a clue what the hell he's telling somebody, and she can draw a picture to match it because she can't hear because she's got sound noisening headphones on. You know, they just entwine like crazy, and they have been doing this for many years.
It's a gift,
Yes.
and they should be respected for having that gift.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a pure gift.
Yeah, and trust me, they are.
And it was very interesting to me that he got to a point where it was a direct conversation. Anything
Yeah.
you want to ask them. So we would
Yeah.
ask them a question, he came back with an answer. And it was very much like that.
And it was,
and just so unexpected.
yeah, crazy. Crazy,
Well,
unexpected.
It's for me. It's not, because I've got videos of where I've done things like this through equipment, not a psychic, because I am not a
Right.
psychic. I
Yeah.
have
Right.
to, I have
Yeah,
to use equipment, and I've gotten responses immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I will drop a couple of names here. Al Capone does not like me because I have seen a little bit of his background. Plus, he had a friend who was his number one bomb making guy. His name is Bruno Rodi. You've heard that name before. And he had a son that was the stick Rodi that actually got as an alderman in Chicago from the first district and over Chinatown. And I think they finally busted him. The FBI did. And of course, they went to Chicago and knocked down all but 3 of the mob bosses there. And by the way, one of the only 3 families still operating in Chicago, I bought my car from one of them.
Yeah.
After 10 years, it's still sitting just a few yards from where I'm sitting,
Yeah.
and we're still driving it.
Yeah. I honestly, I can tell you that, you know, I've heard recordings of Michael and Marty way before I ever got to meet them. And I was like, there's no way. But let me tell you, them psychics and mediums out there,
Some of them are good. Some of them are entertainment only.
if you have ever seen Michael and Marty Perry, you would not look at another one.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly.
Because I think they're the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and by the way, I had Bruno walk through me at one point.
Wow.
We were in a circle, and he walked through me, set my meters off that I was holding in my hand, and a guy the other side of the circle that we were standing in, he just shoved him to the side.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was having to work with a psychic, another real one, and we got Bruno unlocked from the location he was locked into because he was holding 23 other spirits in the building with him.
Hmm.
Oh, I remember hearing
wouldn't be
you talk
alone.
about that.
So he wouldn't be alone. And we talked him to freeing them, and got him where he could actually leave that place. He
Yeah.
did not want to move on because he knew how many people he'd killed. He did not want to move on because he knew he was going to a place that wasn't nice. So we said, if you don't want to move on, go see some sights. Don't stay in this building because the bar and the place, it was actually a former mortuary where he was had his funeral. We told him, get out of here. Go.
Yeah.
Move on, see the world, feel better about yourself. And to this day, he's a little bit of a different person, and that's why Al Capone doesn't like me.
So, do we have time for anyone in the chat to ask a question?
We have all the time you want.
Okay.
I've kind of got my second wind. At least I'm awake and functioning.
Yeah, if you got a question, spit it out.
If anybody in the chat has got a question, they'll be glad to answer it. If anybody scanned over the book.
Well, let me answer a question before someone asks. You probably want to know, where can I get this book? So you can get it on Amazon. If you go to open up the website Amazon and type in my name, Charlie the Bug, or Pam's name, the book will come up. You can also get it on barnesandnoble.com. If you have Amazon Prime, it's the same cost on both websites, but Amazon Prime is going to have free shipping. And I think Barnes and Noble is something like $7 to ship or something like that.
And then
Sean, if you're listening, can you throw up that last picture I just posted? Just add a subheading. John, hello.
I don't see it.
I just posted. I'm looking at it. Basically, it's a banner for the show.
Oh, okay, that one. All right.
And if you see here, this has got the what do you call these things?
QR code.
The QR codes. Okay. For both Amazon, you can blow it up on your screen. It's got the Amazon, and I think what was the other one? Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
That you can scan that and find the book. I asked my wife to find this. I think she got it from Amazon, where she has an account, and we had the book immediately sent to our front porch.
And actually, there are so many other places you could get it. So wherever you normally buy books, you could probably get it.
Yeah.
I know it's Target, Walmart.
Right.
Not in the stores, but
it's online.
Online.
We live out in the country, so we got to go online and get a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Kimmy Corpse had a question. What's the coolest thing you found out in the FBI files?
Steve, what's the coolest thing for you?
That they really didn't have to look very hard. What they got without trying very hard was everybody knew who he was. Everybody they talked to knew who he was and who he was probably associated with. And so the FBI case against the entire Murder Incorporated and the entire mafia at the time was all through informants. Some people would say, yeah, I know something, but I'm not going to tell you. And other people were like, you know what? They killed a friend of mine. I'll tell you everything you want to know. And informants, and actually, that's what brought a couple of them to the electric chair, is even inside Mafia Incorporated, Murder Incorporated, they started squealing on each other. And they did it they said, look, if you'll give me, I'm looking at life in prison. I'm looking at going to the electric chair. If you give me life instead, I'll give you all of these people. and it worked for him for a while. But as strange as it seems, mafia people had they were, even though that people understood what they did and they were ruthless, they were very, very well respected in the community. And even with law enforcement, they were respected. And so when people inside the organization turned against them, even law enforcement didn't respect that very much. And the biggest example of that is one of the big informants. Let me see. Abraham Relis, Kid Twist.
Well, yeah, Kid Twist.
Kid Twist. He allegedly, because he was under protective custody, he allegedly committed suicide or fell from a 6th floor window. And other people years later have said, yeah, there were people that made sure he went out that window, even though he was under police protection.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sean had a question. Do you think the family from both sides will come together in time?
That
an intriguing question.
is my hope for this book.
you have
mean-
to, I mean, that's, and our challenge is completely understanding where the other family's coming from.
Right.
They've never heard any of this. It can't be true. It's not in their family stories.
Right.
No one told them about it. It must be somebody else trying to claim to be related to Charlie, but they're really not. And we understand that, you know what? You just don't know all the facts. And we're hoping the book spells it out. That's why
Yeah.
in the last chapter, it's called Closing Arguments.
Closing.
Like we're presenting a court case.
Yeah, I
Right.
love that. I love
And,
that.
and here's all the challenges people point at us and go, no, it's not. Here's why, here's why, here's why. And even the guy that we borrowed part of his chapter from, who wrote the book about Charlie's hometown, Pam and I met with him, and I gave him a release so we could use quote his book with permission. And he looked at it and did this. He said, I'm concerned that you're going to make it appear as though I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, here's the chapter. Here's what I wrote. He read that and went, okay. Because in the chapter, I said, he does not believe it's the same person, because his very detailed research is all based on census data. And then
Yeah,
my
so
next
you have to respect other people's, you know.
And so my next paragraph is a quote from the census that says, some of our data might be used in genealogy, and you just need to really check what the data says. It may not be correct.
Right.
So,
I did notice that several times, either you or somebody who asked a question of somebody got the standard moppy answer. Forget about it.
Yeah.
that was
But that's
almost
how-
the title of the book. Forget about it. Because it's so cliche, right? Whenever you
Right.
talk, that's what they say. Forget about it. And that's what our dad was told when he talked to somebody he knew was in the mafia. Told him the story, said, I'm looking for my dad. And it was right about the time Charlie was being released from prison.
Right.
Yep. And he was told, forget about it.
Yeah.
Is that probably with a little bit New York accent?
Probably.
Forget about it.
And so we really wanted to not be so cliche.
Yeah.
Right.
We really made an effort to use pictures of Charlie that weren't overused, because you can Google images and look at
And
Charlie the Bug Workman, and there's so many other books and many other pictures that were overused.
Yeah.
We said, nope, we don't want to use those pictures. We've seen them too many times. There's nothing wrong with them, but we just tried to
Yeah.
stay away from that and stick to
And
the
there's
facts.
many podcasts on YouTube also of people talking about Charlie in a totally opposite way. So, you know, Uncle Charlie is one that you can watch. He talks about Charlie in a totally opposite direction because that's what he knew. That is what he grew up knowing as a little boy. So it's not that his is wrong, it's his story.
Right.
And you have to
It-
respect what they
His
have.
point of view.
Yeah.
And so this guy wrote a book that Pam's talking about called Uncle Charlie Killed Dutch Schultz. And the thing about the book, it's a pretty good sized book, and it's like 3 pages are about Uncle Charlie.
Yeah. That's it. And that's it. Yeah.
But again, it's he was there after Charlie went to New York and after Charlie got out of prison. All of those experiences, we don't question any of them,
No.
but he doesn't know about Charlie's life before the mafia.
Yeah. They've never heard our story. And, you know, this is our story and this is what we believe. But also keep in mind that we're from a big family and
Mhm.
not everybody believes it and not everybody gives a shit. So, you know, but you have to respect it, you know?
Well, yeah, they're adults just like us,
Right.
and you got to respect their point of view.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and what Pam is talking about is some of our siblings.
Yeah.
You know, some of our siblings, when they read the book, they went, Dad never told me any of these stories. And
Yeah.
we're like, we know, he didn't tell us either.
Yeah. He didn't tell us what he told our cousin or our cousin's son, or he told us other stories, but he also told them the same stories he told us, you know, so.
But there was a trial. He was
Mhm.
convicted,
Mhm.
Well, yes.
and he
But-
spent
but-
what, 25 years?
23.
23.
23 years. And
I was
so
close.
it's interesting. I write about that in the FBI chapter because the results of that trial, depending on who you talk to, who tells the story.
Yeah.
And so in the FBI file, they said that Kid Twist was going to testify against him. And when he saw that, he stood up and said, no contest. Some other books, I think it was Charlie's son's book about Murder Incorporated and the PGA, said one morning during the trial, Charlie came into the courtroom and his wife said good morning to him. He said, good morning. The prosecutor wanted to arrest her as a material witness. That meant she would go to jail overnight. That's when he stood up and said, no contest.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Either way, it all came out the same,
Right.
that he was given life in prison, or not at the time, it was life in prison, which is supposed to be 12 years.
That's what it was back then.
And so what would happen is he would come up for parole, and it was common to give somebody like that another 3 years. They wanted him to talk. They wanted to find out
Right.
what he
They
knew.
wanted answers. Yeah.
Yeah. But he
They
never
would give
talked.
him they would
No.
give him 5 and 6 years
Each time
each
because
time.
he wouldn't answer anything.
Finally, when it got to 64, they're like, you know what? All these people are dead.
Yeah.
So it don't
Because
matter.
by then, yeah, they were dead. So it didn't matter. But
Okay,
they
Greg-
tried.
Greg has a question here.
Where did
Really?
he spend his time in the pen? He was actually at
Was it Connecticut and New Jersey?
it was a prison in New Jersey, and then he got moved, and actually they waited like 11 years to move him. I don't know why, but that's what they did. And you cannot get any kind of records from New York, period. They are terrible. And even when doing my research, the library would tell me, good luck with New York, because they don't do their paperwork. And, it was so long ago, I'm not going to go dig for that paper when I call them, I don't have time for that. That's 100 years ago. But, yeah. They wanted to kill him, but they kept him because they wanted more information. He was the only one that knew everything. He's the only one that didn't talk. So, and the way mafia groups worked back then is they would hire each other to do their hits, because when they did a hit, they had no information on this person. So if they got caught, they wouldn't have anything to tell them about it or who sent them. So,
or they may not know them, where, you see somebody walking up and he is a murderer in your outfit, and you say, uh-oh.
There was...
quite often they did know him.
They did know him.
But the respect was so high, he said, come on, we need to take a ride. They would go with him.
Yeah.
Okay, can you give us some details on one point he actually sat down and ate with a family?
Yes.
Before knocking off somebody?
Yeah. He actually went to the house, had dinner with his wife and kids, and that he was told to take him out. And so after dinner, they hopped in the car, and Charlie shot him in the back or in the head or something, but he had his back to him, and nobody ever guessed it was Charlie. And, the people that he killed, there's no proof. Some say he killed 20, some say he killed 200. The only one he got pinned for was Dutch Schultz.
There have been books that have been written about people who may have only killed 4 or 5 people their entire lives. And you're telling me that Charlie may have killed 20 or more?
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's interesting, the things we come across we didn't put in the book. So we were talking, I think it may have been on another podcast. Somebody asked the question, where did this come from? Why was he so easy with this? And we really didn't have an answer for it. But in the research, a fact came out that we thought, so what? What's that mean? But in Pam's research, I think one of the census showed that his dad was a veterinarian. And so the tie possibly is he was involved in putting animals down. And it's been said that serial killers have that experience with animals first. And so proof, I don't know.
That was often said of H.H. Holmes.
Yeah. I mean,
in my intro, I have quite a bit of experience with.
Yeah. So serial killers have been known to, through therapy and all that is where they find that out about them. I'm trying to find the name of that prison. I'm trying to think of it. So his dad being a veterinarian, And so the other point I was going to say is the family that he claims to be his parents in New York, they would have been 6 and 8 at the time Charlie was born. So how do they end up with, how does he end up with somebody with the same last name?
And so the interesting thing that ties that in is when Michael was looking at the picture that Marty drew of his dad, he said, "I'm confused. I'm getting 2 dads." And it was explained, okay, there was a dad in New York that wasn't his dad.
Yeah.
There was a dad in Indiana that was his dad. And Michael said, "Okay, do you know something about these families?" We said, "Yes." They said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you this person's wife's name." Okay. Michael said Martha. We knew it was Casper.
Yeah.
We knew it was his real dad, his real mom.
Yeah. Martha was his real mother.
Hmm.
And
Just a personal opinion, I'll interject here. His life story would be fun on a 10-episode Netflix series.
yeah. Yeah.
Where instead of having to throw everything out in 90 minutes in a movie, you've got 10 episodes at 40 minutes of each.
Well, we wrote the book. We have the foundation for it.
But you'd have to give the rest of your family's permission to do it.
Nope.
You can
Nope.
go directly from the book. Do we
Would
know
y'all
about
be
his
open with
weapon
that?
of choice? What's
Huh?
that?
Good. Craig's got question marks. Craig may not know what Netflix is.
So Greg Koss is asking, do you know about his weapon of choice?
Yeah, what
Uh-huh.
did he use? What weapon did he use against Dutch?
A handgun. We
Yeah,
know
it was a
that.
gun,
Handgun, yeah.
but I don't know it exactly what gun it was off the top of my head. But so let me get back to his parents in New York.
Okay, go ahead.
So the mother and the father he claims in New York is Anna and Samuel. And I was wrong about their age. They would have been 13 and 14.
13 and 14. Possible, but barely.
Well, they were in Russia.
He were in Russia.
His parents came from Russia. And so if they were in Russia at the time of his birth, how are they his parents?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, all of the
Yeah.
facts that we have, census,
Mhm.
marriage certificate, all of that
Yeah.
shows that we know who his parents are.
Yeah. We know who his parents are,
Yeah.
but I mean, they can say what they want, but
Right. But
that's what I have found out. His parents were in Russia. And so his parents in New York were born in 1885 and 1884. And Charlie was born in 1908. And they got married
no,
in
he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
1889. He changed it to 1908. Yeah. And so at the age of 23 and 24, they're in New York, and all of a sudden they have a son.
Right.
But, It's okay, y'all. You're our friends, and just because we belong to a mafia family doesn't mean nothing. We love y'all.
Greg said, "Were they all dispatched by firearms?"
What'd he
I
say?
think so. Were they all,
Oh,
was all of his hits by firearms?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I would think so. Um, but the reason they called him the Bug is because he was, he never left any evidence. He totally got away with all of them and would have gotten away with even Dutch Schultz if people didn't start talking to save their own skin. And that was about 6 years later,
Yeah.
5 or 6 years later when they started talking. Um, but um, yeah, he was very efficient, extremely well respected, um, and was very much, he wasn't a low level hitman. He was top of the heap and involved with the bosses directly. That's why they wanted him to take out Dutch.
Well,
Kimmy
yeah.
said,
If you take out somebody with the fame and power of Dutch Schultz,
yeah. And my personal take on that is, I think that if Charlie would have been by himself, no one would have caught him for Dutch Schultz.
and
I honestly,
he still would have killed everybody in the room.
yeah, and I believe that the other ones, I don't think he had people with him. So someone was ordered to drive the car, another one was ordered to go with him, and I think if Charlie would have been by himself, he wouldn't have got caught. I honestly believe that he killed most of those people with no one else with him. Because if he had, it's like telling a secret. You tell one, 10 people's going to know.
Mm-hmm.
If you take 10 people with you, 10 people's going to talk. I think that's my personal opinion about how Charlie worked. So, just by research, that's just my guess. Like I said, it's 100 years old. I really don't know.
Well, one thing Greg says, no autos, revolvers. Revolvers are cleaner and harder to trace because if you got an automatic, when it automatically changes and
I
puts a new
think
bullet in there, it spits out the cartridge.
I think he's talking about automobile. No
Okay.
automobile or
Oh, so no autos, revolvers. I'm talking
yeah.
about the kind of gun. An auto
Oh yeah.
spits the cartridge out, and you got to take the time to take the cartridge out, or they can trace the gun.
Yeah. Yeah. I still can't think of the name of that prison.
But Charlie was actually in several movies, but without mention, because how many movies have shown the killing of Dutch Schultz?
Well, that's just actors portraying what they believed happened. That's
Right.
not actually Charlie. So
It's not actually Charlie. No,
yeah, that's just their take on it.
that was their Hollywood version.
Yeah, it's just
And
what they
they,
believe.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like we're hearing me, so you have something
Can
running.
you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
So yeah, exactly, a Hollywood version. One of the movies. One of the movies showed the killing of Dutch Schultz as a drive-by shooting,
Yeah.
and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Hollywood liberties.
There you go. There you go. Greg, if I don't remember the name of that prison, I will have to message you what it is. I don't know why I can't remember the name of that prison.
I'm pretty
It
sure
was.
one of them was New Jersey. They're both on the East Coast.
Yeah, is it at Trenton? Trenton Prison. I think it's Trenton.
Is that the one that got moved to, or the one that got moved out of?
That's the one he got moved to. I do believe.
Okay. We are being asked. Of course, we have gone an hour and a half.
Uh-oh. Sean's saying, get the hell out of here.
Well, he's not quite phasing it like that, but yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have found this a marvelous subject. This show has been fun to me, interesting, informative. I think we've covered your book. Go ahead and one more time say where the site you were talking about that wrote your forward can be found. Michael and Marty Perry, I think it's right. Isn't it? Parry.
Right.
They did write the forward.
Yep.
And you said what was it? You said, Steve?
Yep.
Is
Right.
there a website?
The website. Thanks, Greg.
Oh, spiritart.com.
SpiritArt.com. That's what we got.
Yeah.
Thanks,
And
Greg.
Again,
Spiritart.com.
your book can be found on Amazon and what was the other one?
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
Walmart.com, Target.com. And
Barnes and Noble.
here's a QR
There you
code
go.
if somebody
There you
wants
go.
to scan it.
There you go. And just for everybody's information, if you read the first edition, this is the second edition with many added pages and stories and a lot more information.
And
Is that
if
correct?
yes, if you buy the book and read it, please go to Amazon and leave a review. That is what sells the book, is reviews. Reviews are so important. And we appreciate everyone supporting us.
Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. I know you wanted to be on a podcast with somebody who's actually read the book and get asked questions out of the book.
Yeah.
I was not on my best game tonight, and I do apologize for that. But as the old expression goes, shit happens.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate y'all coming on the show. It's been fun. Yeah.
Thanks, Greg.
Pamela's great in a shirt and tie.
I just look around. That's all.
Well, I think Steve has a great beard.
He does.
So
And
my
so-
compliments there, sir. And
So-
anything else y'all want to close with?
You want to say
Thank
anything
you.
else, Steve? Thank you, Barbara. Thank you all for jumping on here and asking questions and sticking around to listen. We so appreciate you. It's an interesting book. That's all I can say.
Read it.
Read it, buy it, read it, and leave a review, please. And much heartfelt.
I'll have to go back and leave a review. I have read it. Got it right here.
Yeah,
So I'll leave a review.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We appreciate everything.
All right. Now we're going to go ahead and close out the show. If you want to stick around
Thank
and
you.
chat,
We look
Donnie, I
forward to
usually
that.
talk
So-
for a few
And
minutes.
then tell a friend.
Yeah, and tell
Tell
a
a
friend
friend.
about it. Yeah.
Well, I have told plenty of friends tonight about the book. Any watcher of All Access Network TV and my own little personal places that I send my show. By the way, y'all did send it to your Facebook pages, right?
Yeah.
I thought you knew how StreamYard worked and you could push that
Yeah.
button and send it to your own. I
Yeah.
forgot to mention. I apologize for that. But you did it anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all can go ahead and close it out on that.
All right. Thank you, Len.
Thank you again. If you want to talk, just hang around. We're gonna go close out the show, and we
Okay.
can talk with Sean a little bit if you want to.
Okay. All righty.
Sean, let's go ahead and run those purple ghosts.